Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world and whenever you are tuning into this video. My name is James Porcelli.
My name is Bryan Thomas.
And welcome to another edition of the Ruthless Talk podcast. WrestleMania is in the rearview mirror. WrestleMania is done. It is come and gone. But now there's still a whole lot more to talk about. We got the Raw after WrestleMania, which is the main dish for today. Of course, this weekend, we got the SmackDown after WrestleMania. So there's still a lot of juicy stuff to cover involving WrestleMania in its tender. But what a weekend, Brian. What a WrestleMania weekend as a whole. And a very successful one at that. And just to show you proof, I also have my boards from this past weekend. There's night one. You can see more good outweighing the bad. And then, of course, here was night two. Legit, nothing. And again, if you're on Spotify, you're shit out of luck. But as you can see from my boards, I had 8 in the good and 7 in the good, 0 in the bad. And then night one was 8 in the good and 1 in the bad. That's 15 goods to 1 bad throughout this entire weekend.
Oh, yeah, man.
This was definitely a successful WrestleMania weekend for sure. But Brian, you were not here with me this past episode. As again, I want to thank Carl. Shout out to Carl.
Absolutely.
Again,
thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely. He's been a long time listener, a viewer of the platform. So it was a great time to have him on. Like I said, go check that WrestleMania Night 2 review out if you haven't already. But Brian, I'm going to let you have the floor, man. I know there's a lot of stuff that you want to say after what transpired night 2. We're going to get into Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. There's lots of stuff to cover there. But, Brian, I'd love to get your thoughts, man. I'm going to kick my feet up, right? I just got out the gym. I'm going to hydrate over here. Take all the time that you need, my man. Your thoughts about WrestleMania Night 2, Cody Rhodes finishing his story, Damian Priest cashing in, Bayley getting her big moment against Io Sky, dethroning Io Sky. The floor is yours, man. Take it.
Yeah, away. Man. Like I said going into it, overall, and before I even get into it, because I do have some critiques on it, some things that I was like, what the fuck? But overall, man, yeah, like going into it, I thought this was going to be a really, really successful Mania, a really good one, and it was. Both nights, it just from top to bottom, it had good shit all the way through. So I'll start there. Kudos to Nick Khan and Triple H and every performer that was out there, the referees, the production crew, all of it, man. It was fucking phenomenal, man. It really was. I'll just go down the card on night 2 here. Actually, before I get into that, I know we've already made a video. There ain't enough flowers in the world for Samantha Irvin, man. I mean, dude. And I know some people are going to take, especially with her, winning or Cody's win, and she was emotional. I think that's fucking awesome, man. Like that real emotion in real time. And dude, those moments are what make wrestling. Of course, we all know it's scripted. We all know it's a performance. It's an entertainment. But now, every now and then, you get those real moments, good and bad. And it's fucking beautiful when it happens, man. So, again, shout out to Samantha Irvin, man. She's the GOAT. She is the fucking GOAT, man. So, that being said, first match, Seth and Drew. Fantastic match. Of course, I thought Drew was going to win here, as he should. Of course, we know Punk was going to be out there on commentary and he was going to get involved. Man, I don't know how I feel about this, man. It was great. He got the win and then goes out there and him and Punk get into it. Man, dare I say, I'm at the point where I'd be okay if they just got rid of the Money in the Bank altogether. I think the bad or the just mid with the Money in the Bank has far outweighed. There's been some moments, but I don't think the moments there's been more bad than good, or more just what the fuck are we doing than good, memorable moments with the cash in. Look, I like Damian Priest. I like him in the Judgment Day. Hell, even back to when he first broke in and when he was a babyface, like shooting the arrow thing. It didn't really connect, but you could see something with him. Like, the guy's got talent, and he's going to be a star for sure. Mm-hmm. But man, I just feel like this moment was, we've talked about this. Outside of The Rock and Drew, there's nobody that sold WrestleMania more.
No.
I feel like even Raw, or actually now, I mean, both champions are technically on Raw as of now. I guess one's going to move over. We'll see what happens there. But I think it would be better served if McIntyre was the champ right now, man. I really do. Like, Punk's still going to be out a little bit, and while yes, that interaction definitely plays into that feud and what we all know is coming. But it doesn't need the title, no. But I just feel like this was Drew's moment, man. And we talk about this and who deserves it, who doesn't, and a lot of people do, right? Drew sold WrestleMania. He's been doing great shit for months. I just don't see why you take this opportunity to cash in now, other than, again, with the Money in the Bank, you're coming up to like Money in the Bank's coming around again, right? So you got to do something with it. And that's just the predicament you put people in where, again, we said LA Knight should have won it a year ago. That it was sitting there for him a year ago. Now you have it on Priest, and he's become the leader of Judgment Day, him and Rhea. I would still say Rhea's calling the shots, but when it started, right, it was Finn was the leader. Now it's clearly Damian. So he's been doing great shit, but I just don't feel like, I don't know, for him to cash in now. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, and I'm touching a bit on Raw too, but now you have Jay as the number one contender. I mean, if they fight, Jay's got to win that match. Jay can't lose that fucking match. So what you're going to have, Damian hold on, and he's going to be a transitional champion, but why just not have Drew have the belt, have him have a title reign, and he's sitting there for when Punk comes back? I just think that was sitting right there for him. Even with the title, right, the title holder, I feel like that's a spot where whoever's holding the title should be a person, and not that Damian's not capable, and I think he will continue to grow and learn and evolve into this. But right now, in this moment, I don't know. He's the champ now, right? So there's going to be younger guys, people coming for him that haven't had a shot before. He's now has to make them look good. He has to put them over. I just think it would be better served if Drew had the title and was in that position. And if you want to have Damian come after Drew, that's even fucking perfect. You can have, again, Drew be putting over Damian to a degree. I don't know. I'm just not down with that cash in at that moment. I love the moment for Drew in that little 3 to 5 minutes that he got or whatever. Now Jay's number one contender, and dude, he can't, when he gets that title shot, he can't lose that right now against Damian. No, sir. So yeah, we'll see where we go with that. But those are my overall thoughts. And Punk is obviously going to come back at some point, probably over the summer, and Drew's going to continue that, and that's going to be excellent as well. So again, that's still good shit coming out of this overall. I'm still looking forward to that, no doubt. I don't know, the Damian cash in just wasn't really hitting for me, man. So now we'll go into, I think the second match was the Profits and Lashley against Final Testament. I mean, bro, for me, tell me if it is for you. The highlight for me was Snoop and Bubba Ray, man.
I said the same thing, dude.
I mean, Snoop on commentary, that was entertaining as shit, man. That was good. Bubba, playing to the ECW Philadelphia crowd, putting on the glasses, it's all good shit, man. But again, even I gotta say in this match, man, like, what are we doing? What's going on here? You create this faction with Karrion Kross that's seemingly had like 2-3 little character changes here in the last months. Sorry, I think my computer's fucking up. He's had some character changes. You got this faction that is badass with AOP. You got Scarlett, Paul fucking Ellering, and they come out here and lose the match, and the Profits as well. We could go back to a year ago. James, you and I had spoken about a year ago. Montez had a great Royal Rumble. Like, arguably, he was ready to go out on his own, Mm-hmm. Here we are a year later, and still doing the Street Profits thing now with Lashley. That's kind of, again, that's changed up like 2 or 3 times here in a very short period of time. So I just don't know where we're going with any of those people involved. And that's unfortunate because, I mean, the Final Testament could be a badass faction. The Street Profits and Lashley, I don't know, man. I don't know. They've had, again, different iterations of it. I think Montez was ready a year ago to be a solo competitor. So yeah, I don't know, but overall it was an entertaining match. I know they had that table spot that the table just broke, which was just like wah wah, But they made it entertaining. They kind of recovered with the whole, get the tables and Bubba Ray doing the, what's up, so that was cool. But yeah, I just don't know where we're going with any of those guys after that. And it could be really, really good stuff. I mean, Paul Ellering, dude, you got Paul Ellering. And I don't know what the holdback is to AOP. I mean, yes, they're green, and I don't know what they were there years ago. I don't know what they've been doing in between. But these guys are fucking monsters, man. If they can even halfway go in the ring, like, you got to get them in there and make them a dominant tag, man. I mean, so we'll see where we go with that. LA Knight and AJ Styles. I like the match. Good, solid match. LA Knight getting a WrestleMania moment and the win. That's awesome. But there wasn't much outside of that. I mean, it was a good match. It was good. It was good. Mm-hmm. Now to Paul, Orton, and Owens, man. Look, I was wrong about a lot of shit in this Mania, man, especially when we get into the main event here. But yeah, I heard, you guys' podcast, and yeah, I mean, make Paul retaining here with SummerSlam being in Cleveland. Sure, that's the right call. He's going in there as champion, and he's going to sell tickets and do his YouTube and his podcast and all that shit. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. I tell you though, it was kind of entertaining for me. I mean, Paul, again, kudos to him, man. He did his thing, looked fucking great. The frog splash at the end. I mean, god damn, he's just so fluid in the ring, man. My favorite part, dude, was though, Orton and KO go for the cover at the same time. They're like, oh, wait, triple threat, right? They're like, yeah. Let's just focus on him. And they go back to kick his ass again. And Orton tries to RKO him. And that whole little spot there, man, that was really good, man. I like that. So, yeah, overall, entertaining match. Some good spots. Paul, as much as I hate to say it, and, It just he irritates me, but he's fucking good. He's fucking good, man. So yeah, like no real issues there. Just kind of where Orton and KO go after this, or do they start a feud with each other? I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I'd like to see them go do something different, hopefully good, but we'll see. Bayley and Io, man. Bayley gets her moment, dude. I loved it. Loved the match. And I haven't talked about entrances, but throughout both nights, man, a lot. I mean, there was some weird shit.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, I did hear, regarding his entrance. It's something I think they do in Philly on New Year's, like that, like in their parades or whatever. So that was that whole deal, and because I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, he went full on like clown shit. I was like, oh my god, man. But right. So that was that deal. But yeah, entrances up and down the card, man. Just really, really good, man. I mean, I didn't have much, there wasn't much. Everything I thought about them, it was either there wasn't much to say or they were pretty fucking awesome. So this match, again, the moonsaults, the elbow drops, Io Sky, the counter she had to the rose plant, the first attempt at the rose plant, fucking beautiful, man. So yeah, I was happy with the match. Happy for Bayley. I really hope she has a long run here, and this is a big year for Bayley because, man, if anybody has earned it in this, men or women, Bayley's one of them. So shout out to her, man. I'm glad she got that moment, and yeah, that was a great match. All right, man. Main event time. Obviously, I was way wrong. So Cody wins. Cody finishes story, man. And listen, beautiful fucking moment. I got no complaints about him finishing the story. I thought it was overall, it was well done. My only drawback is people will probably be like up in arms about this, but like Cena and Undertaker. I love Cena, take it or leave it. Undertaker, yeah, you're going to get a pop out of me anytime he comes back. But why here and why now? Like, what the fuck? Because neither one of these guys, again, they're not going to be a long-term part of this story. I don't foresee. Mm-hmm. Rock and Roman are both going to be gone for an extended time. With all the people that are there, currently. And if I did hear right, Jacob Fatu has signed with WWE, correct?
As of right now, through Fightful, yes. He has. Yeah. He's right now has signed a contract with WWE as of 2 days ago. So yes, or 3 days ago, I want to say. 3 days ago.
So just with everybody involved, I mean, you had, of course, Jimmy and Jay and Solo and Seth come out there. The Rock, of course. But again, I mean, you had Fatu sitting there, or even other people within the WWE, or Randy Orton, LA Knight, mm-hmm. People that could come to Cody's aid there, mm-hmm. to where, it was a great pop, a shocking moment. I mean, who expected to see the Undertaker? Nobody fucking did. That's awesome. So with the Undertaker and Cena out there, it was a great pop, yeah. But for storyline wise, I just don't know why you have them out there to finish a story with Cody. Unless, I do expect some long-term storytelling here with a lot of characters. And, I've spoken about that. I think we are really in for a change here. In WWE. So, I mean, could it be about, with The Rock coming back as the TKO board member and Undertaker kind of be like, I don't know, you're not going to do this to the company I helped build, or like, where is that going? and they're not going to be there. None of them are going to be there. Not Cena, not Undertaker, not The Rock, not Roman.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just would have preferred, people that Roman has, feuded with over these past 4 years, if that's how you're going to do with these people coming out here. But that's my only drawback to it. Overall, great match. Cody finished his story, and that's great. No shade here. Samantha Irvin at the end, I mean, that just added, again, she just adds to the moment. I mean, that real raw emotion of this is a real life story for Cody, and the friendships that are formed throughout, and you saw the wrestlers come out at the end. I mentioned Orton. Who else was out there? The Miz, maybe. LA Knight,
LA Knight, CM Punk, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, of course, because Seth Rollins was a part of the whole spiel. But all those people. Mm-hmm.
And here I got to speak on this too, because now. And again, Seth is going to be gone too. I really got to speak a lot about Seth here, because in the first match with Drew, right, you see him leaving the ring, pointing at Drew, tears in his eyes, man. Shout out to Seth Rollins and what he's done over the last, not just this year with the title, but I mean, the dude's been going for fucking 10, 12 years now, Mm-hmm. And even at the end with Cody, at that match, tears in his eyes. Like, I don't know if that was, it's probably a lot of things. I'm sure he knows he's going to be gone for a while, probably. And this is an industry that they're all in, and this all means something to them, all of this, right? So just, man, hope he heals well, gets surgery and heals up whatever he needs to, and definitely looking forward to when he comes back, man. All of these guys, because, like I said, they're all going to be gone, and looking forward to the day they're going back or coming back. But I do got to mention this whole Shield thing, and I'll wrap this up with this. Roman has been on this ride for 4 years now, and shout out to him. Again, he's gone. Thank you for everything you've done for the past 4 years. It's, it's been up and down and whatever, but he, more than any other singular wrestler in the business right now, I feel, has been at the forefront of this swell in popularity and good entertaining shit again, Yeah. So shout out to him, man. Again, I hope he, heals up, rest up, whatever he needs to do. And when he's ready to come back, man, the whole wrestling universe is down,
For sure.
So back to the Shield shit. Like, Roman has built this shit, right, for 4 years. The bloodline, title reign, all of it. And only now, in the last couple months, have they started to hint at this whole Rollins created Roman thing because he turned on the Shield. And they did the same shtick at the Mania match, which I thought was a beautiful touch, right? To do that.
Absolutely.
But please don't take this story to now where Rollins created Reigns, because that has not been the story for 4 years. That this shot and this breakup, yes, it evolved characters and things like that, but this bloodline tribal chief does not really stem from Seth Rollins hitting him in the back with a chair, and I feel like they're now trying to shoehorn that in. Like, so I don't know. We'll see when everybody comes back. But that's that. I'll close with that, man. Overall, a great Mania. I loved it. Shout out to Bayley, Samantha Irvin, Cody, The Rock, and Roman. Like everybody that was out there, man. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot to, say negative about it. I mean, it was good from top to bottom. Yeah, man. I loved it. I loved it.
Very nice, man. Very nice, and very well said as well. But To kind of like add in before we get into Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, because there's going to be some stuff to go over. But to kind of what you pointed out, Brian, and I've kind of said this a little bit in regards to everybody getting involved, right? John Cena, The Undertaker. Because, yeah, you're right. In regards to like, Roman and like maybe in regards to like going past history, you would think it would be people who were more involved in the last 4-year tenure while Roman Reigns was
Right,
champion.
right.
However, Brian, I think this was honest, and I said this even in the second upload. Of course, due to technical difficulties, had to make a second upload of it. Make sure you go check that out. YouTube, Spotify.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all know the drill with that. But I talked about how I believe this was just more than just the story with Cody and Roman. I feel like this was more of just telling fans that this is a new era. Like, we always talk about passing of the torch, right?
Yep.
This was more of like passing the torch of like a new era, pretty much, right? You saw like different shades of era. Like, again, people like Roman Reigns and Seth who are going to be on the sidelines for the next couple of freaking months. You have people like Cena and Undertaker. The word was that it was supposed to be Stone Cold Steve Austin instead of the Undertaker. Unfortunately, because you remember the whole freaking production truck when The Rock was beating up Cody in the parking lot beside his freaking freaking RV, like Cody's RV or whatever you call it, that great ending to freaking Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago, and it had both Stone Cold and John Cena's face on it. So the word is that it was supposed to be Stone Cold, but Stone Cold, we don't know the reason why, couldn't make it to WrestleMania. So The Undertaker, who's already traveling with WWE and everything, was kind of the audible there. So yeah, no doubt. It doesn't make any sense.
And even that, if it had been Stone Cold, if it had worked out, that again, I still would have preferred just wrestlers now, but that would have made sense with The Rock and Stone Cold. The Undertaker, it was like, what?
Yeah, it was out of left field. Yeah. No, I know. And it really was, because even I said out loud, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
I was like,
I love what's going on here, but like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
But I think this was just more, Brian, because you saw how they really draw out like Cody's celebration and everybody kind of coming together. Was it a little cheesy of like raising? Yeah, sure. But but you saw people like LA Knight and Orton and people like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and like that whole scene of like people who have been on the rise with Cody Rhodes and saying, hey, now here's the guy that finally dethroned Roman. And you had Seth, who was in freaking legit in tears, by the way. Like, and I feel like that was a genuine reaction.
Absolutely.
As well. But I feel like it wasn't really just about the story. It was also just to really put the stamp on to say, hey, we're entering a new era, the Paul Levesque era, right? So I think it really had also a lot to do with that than just the story itself, if that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair enough. And like I said, I mean, it's great. I'm never going to complain when it's The Undertaker. It just it was just out of left field. Yeah.
In the moment, it was out of left field. You're like, wait, this is great. We love The Undertaker. I mean, him just showing up and doing a choke slam will have fans going nuts.
Yeah.
But it definitely was out of left field for sure.
And at the end of Mania, and even mainly at the end of Mania, it gave me throwbacks to like when Sting beat Hogan and the wrestlers came out, or when Ron Simmons won his world title.
Yeah,
like those kind of moments where the faces come out, and celebrate with the new champ, and it was good, and the whole they're really leaning into this, and you saw it in Raw where this is a new we're going new places, and they got the next Netflix deal coming up, and I'm fucking excited for it, man. Absolutely.
They got a lot of momentum right now after this weekend, and just hopefully that, and I'll speak more about it, but hopefully after, when this whole WrestleMania hype kind of comes to an end, hopefully they carry that beyond this entire calendar year, but we'll find out about it. And to finish this off, man, you spoke earlier, Brian, about Damian Priest, and I completely agree with you, and I know we texted each other about it when it freaking happened. But here's with Drew McIntyre, and I'm sure maybe some of it has to do with the fact that he hasn't signed an extension of his contract yet. I don't know
I
if
thought
that has any.
maybe I thought he did like within the last week or so,
there was a
two or
report like
something.
maybe a couple weeks ago. I want to say that he did sign an extension,
Maybe
but
not,
now they're saying from people from Fightful and other sources that that those reports were false. He hasn't signed a contract or he hasn't signed an extension yet. So I don't know if it has anything to do with that per se. But
I hope he does, because really what he's been doing these past few months, it's been awesome, man. So I hope they can come to an agreement and get this ball rolling, because I think it was time for him to hold on to this title. But I mean, I get it. If he doesn't have a contract, then what are you gonna do?
And that's the thing too. And again, much love to Damian Priest. Again, even though I said what I said, and people think like, oh, like you're just a hater, like Damian Priest, he's a star now. I'm like, guys, I've always liked Damian Priest. It had nothing to do with me not liking Damian Priest. But
seriously, for everybody on the internet, like, tell me, who are you going to throw in there, young up and coming talent, to put in there with Damian and you're not going to do that. You're going to get veteran opponents, right?
Yeah,
so
and
not build anybody up.
And not just to have a good match, right? But it's also to make them better than what they were before going into the match, right? That takes a lot of responsibility. Again, Damian Priest has been good, and he's with this Judgment Day shtick. He went from freaking this whole, I don't even know what you call it, that whole gimmick he had where like he was freaking, he would like the devil would be inside of him and he would go freaking nuts, and then he would get calm, and then he would be like, it was that whole spiel babyface when he was United States champion. I don't even know what you call that freaking gimmick, but but it's so, and that's why I kept saying, man, about LA Knight winning that freaking Money in the Bank, man, that would have had such more aura to it. Like LA Knight, like this guy is so white hot. He's behind the crowd.
At that
time, he was such. Everybody was so behind him, and people still are to a degree. But this dude was white hot during that time, during Money in the Bank. And if he would have made that Money in the Bank briefcase so special, like, dude, like LA Knight, because people are so high on the dude. They're like, when is he going to cash in? I want to see what he does with this contract. That's what makes the Money in the Bank contract so special. But instead, they put it on Priest to get him over. That's not how it works, man. And that's what I just don't get it. Now, again, the moment was very special. WWE is going to make this memorable for a lot of people. And listen, for Damian Priest, I hope, and I hope it works out. And I'm going to give it a chance. The problem, and like you said, Brian, the also other problem that I have is that he could be a transitional champion, and I don't like that.
He definitely is, because like I said, if Jay's the number one contender and that's the ultimate match you're leading to at the next pay-per-view, you think Jay's losing that match? No. Unless Jimmy can't come out and cost him that again, and we still keep doing that shit. Like, that's got to be done with too here.
That's where WWE can find themselves into a hole in regards to it, right? So, and who knows when they have that matchup, and we'll speak about that more later on. But yeah, man, it's just, listen, I do love the fact, and I said it before, I said it in the episode, is that it set up Drew and Punk very well. And yeah, does it need the title involved? No, it does not. But man, like Damian Priest, listen, you put this strap on Damian Priest, and I don't know, like maybe the fact is because he's a transitional champion, you're going to have Drew McIntyre, winning in Scotland for Clash at the Castle coming up in June. But he's also a heel, and you're going up against another heel. I don't know how that's going to work out either. But yeah, go ahead, Brian.
There are avenues that they can play here, no doubt, where like, again, if the ultimate or next title defense or whatever is against Jay, I think Jay's obviously winning there. Drew and Jay still have major beef, so that could be a feud. Again, assuming Punk is still not back yet. I'm talking about here in the next month or two.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. There are avenues, but it just, the timing does not seem right for Damian.
Yeah.
To take that from Drew, and
because he never should have won this briefcase, man. And now, and I don't know if this is just setting him up to finally start this dissension of the Judgment Day. Because I've even said it, like, if he's going to continue to hold on to this world title, like, I can't just look at him as another member of the faction. And maybe that's why they still want him to be a
right.
part of Judgment Day, and they don't want just Damian Priest being, oh, he's a member of the Judgment Day. Oh, but wait a minute, he's a world champion. So, but why did you put the title on him or the briefcase on him in the first place, man?
Yeah.
LA Knight could have freaking took that briefcase and would have done wonders with it, and that briefcase and that cash-in would have been just as freaking special because the crowd would have been so behind him. It would have been such a more memorable moment than it even was with Damian Priest. And it would have made more freaking sense. You know, you had Drew and Punk, you can set that up, and now you could take LA Knight and you can have him soar with the fucking world title. I don't know, man. It's just really, really weird when it comes to it. So
let me just close with this, go ahead. I know getting off on a tangent, but the whole Money in the Bank thing, that's why I say, like, I don't even think it's needed anymore. Like, unless that should be used for somebody, again, like a LA Knight who was in a position last year where he was already hot. You put that on him knowing that you have or are creating a plan to make him champion soon in the next few 6 months, whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't put that on a person expecting them to cash it in and lose, or else why would you put it on them? But then you run into the situation, again, much like Damian, where you're using it to get him over, to where others, now you've gone 6-8 months into it where he's still holding on to it, and other storylines have evolved to where it just doesn't make sense for him to cash in on anybody right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's the issue with the Money in the Bank, is like you have to have a plan for that person, whoever's going to win it, to also be cashing it in within a few months, and more times than not winning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and not just with Drew and not just with Damian Priest, but like the world title itself too. Like, it's just you're going to transition this title from to Jay, and then maybe back to Drew, and then maybe to CM Punk for him to go back into a feud with Rollins. I mean, I don't know. Who knows at this point if they're even going to do Punk and Rollins for the title once Rollins comes back, because I'm sure they want to resume that whole spiel with Punk and Rollins in the future. But so, yeah, I mean, with Jay and Damian Priest, man, like, my gut feeling is that Priest is probably going to retain this title, and he's going to probably, that's as of right now, that's my gut feeling. That could change. I'll have to look more into it, but but the thing is with Jay, I mean, Jay does make more sense, because why would you have Priest, a heel, going up against Drew, who's right now the fucking heel, against Punk right now? It just doesn't make sense. But, but I just know this company and Triple H, man, they just, for some reason, and we've seen it for weeks, that they just love to put a heel against another freaking heel. But maybe in this circumstance, because it's the world title, maybe they don't want to blur the lines to that degree, right? So maybe this is how freaking Damian Priest gets rid of the title. You put it on Jey Uso, and then you give it to Drew McIntyre. Then why didn't you just have...
Exactly.
Again, none of the shit makes sense. Right. To a degree, none of it fucking makes sense. And again, I've even said it. I wanted to put a freaking ugly in this column, but in regards to just the moment and how the crowd was hot and people were into it in the moment. But I even said to people, this could fall flat on your face with Damian Priest, to where, if you don't do this right, if this is a new era, like, make it feel like it's a new era. If Damian Priest is going to drop this title, then you have to start evolving the Judgment Day story and start this dissension. Yeah. Because if you're just going to keep doing the same shit with Damian Priest and the Judgment Day and all of this stuff that they've been doing for the past 6 months, then is it really truly a new era to some degree? You know what I mean? And that's just, it's just very odd. It's just odd booking. Yeah. And, look, I thought a lot more good outweighed the bad in regard to the cash-in, because it's WrestleMania. And again, because
I did not see it coming. I really was not expecting that. I thought Drew was walking out champion, and
it was like, okay, they're trying to, they're doing some extracurricular activity with Punk and Drew. They're trying to, but it's funny because, like, never in your wildest imagination that you would hear Damian Priest's music hit and he would freaking cash in that briefcase. As soon as he hit the music, I was like, oh my God, they're about to do this shit. They're actually fucking doing it. So I had so many mixed feelings about it, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It was mixed.
I was just baffled, but I was also like, that was a really in the moment for what it was, because again, the crowd was hot. Freaking, it was a cool cash in moment at a big stage like WrestleMania. So, but now, now we come back to reality, right? Now reality sets in, like, oh, wait a minute, Damian Priest has this fucking world title. And now we gotta, like, wait, we're gonna set up Drew with it, but do we give it to Jay? And now there's all these avenues to where this could be messy very, very, very quickly here.
Listen to what we said at the beginning too. We are both fans of him, and this guy is a star and could be a superstar in the very near future.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just not that timing.
It's not the timing's not now. It's not now, guys. I've been getting a lot of freaking shits. Just another day being a fucking podcaster, right? About Damian Priest. It's just like, oh, you're just hating on Damian Priest. He's a star now and things. I'm like, guys, I'm not hating on Damian Priest. I'm not saying he can't be a world champion, nor he can't be a star in this company. The timing is not now. It's just not. You know who the timing was for? Fucking LA Knight. That's who the timing was for. It's not for Damian Priest. And now you're in a situation.
And last night, the timing was, again, given Drew's history, and we all know the world championship reign in the pandemic, it was his time. It was his moment,
Yes.
Like, I'm always for, like, I'm sorry, this might go a little long. I apologize. But, like, I'm always for, like, man, when somebody puts in the work like that, like, we talk about who deserves it, who's earned it, who's whatever. Drew sold this Mania.
Yeah.
It was
him and The Rock.
Yeah, him and The Rock. And I just feel like, yes, when somebody does that, yeah, they have earned that moment. They have gotten to that moment. Why deny them just for the sake of denying them?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. No, in that accolade for Drew to get cashed on to that degree, it's just like, man, he did such a great job, getting to this moment, winning the world title for alongside The Rock, selling this freaking pay-per-view and his feud with Punk, and for him to just get cashed in by Damian Priest. Yeah, no, I hear a lot. I hear where people are coming from to that degree, because again, it's just like, I mean, he was called bisexual Undertaker, for fuck's sake, on freaking Twitter. Like, that's your world champion. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, man, as much as I like Priest, and yes, we'll give it a chance to see where this goes. We have no choice but to give it a chance, right? But this could easily go in the opposite direction if they're not careful, because of Drew and him still being a heel. You don't want to do heel versus heel and blur the lines. You got Jey Uso.
And remember, actually, like what we said, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but
no, you're good.
The champions right now, both theoretically, are on Raw.
Yeah, so that could change with the draft. I know they announced the WWE draft.
I didn't even hear that. Okay.
They could draft Cody Rhodes to SmackDown. Cody Rhodes can go to SmackDown and Priest could stay on Raw, or vice versa. Who the hell freaking knows in regards
what
to
is that? What do you remember?
I believe it's at the end of April. So in about a couple weeks, I believe is the draft. And Ilya Dragunov, shout out to Dragunov, who made his we're going to talk about Raw later on. Made his main roster debut. He will be a part of that draft. So, and it's weird, right? Because he's still holding on to the NXT title. So that's going to be interesting how that goes along. But yeah, Brian, great takes in regards to WrestleMania Night 2. Overall, man, this was a very successful weekend overall.
Yep.
Honestly, I mean, maybe not. People have been saying, oh, it's the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I don't know if I would go that far, but this is definitely one of the best WrestleManias for what it was, the event itself. I mean, granted, the build could have been better. A lot of stuff could have been better. But for what this weekend event was, man, this was very, very successful. And I give a lot of praise to this company. People like Nick Khan and people like Triple H and a lot of people, behind the scenes. Hey, golf clap. This was a very successful weekend. And hopefully once this WrestleMania hype kind of dies down a little bit, they just keep that momentum going. But we'll soon find out. But before we get into Monday Night Raw, I have to speak on this. And oh man, Brian, I don't even know where to begin.
Me either, man. Me either.
So if you guys haven't seen, if you've been living under a rock in the last 24 hours, in the wrestling community, AEW Dynamite, right? So, and this announcement was made right after the WrestleMania media scrum, to where AEW, right, the Elite, the Bucks, and Tony Khan and AEW are going to be releasing unseen footage from AEW All In. So, of course, if you guys
that
remember,
was made after WrestleMania. I didn't know that.
That was
like,
after
what, on
Collision.
Twitter or something?
That was on Collision. When
Collision. Right.
I'm
Okay.
like, what the fuck? So that whole spiel, it's just like the one weekend you'd want to make this announcement, you do it on the same night or the same day as Mania. Just fucking, I don't even know, man. Anyway, but so they actually show footage, because I'm thinking, Brian, I'm like, this has got to be a troll. This has got to be something maybe to sell the Bucks and the shtick that they're doing, right? No, guys, I'm not bullshitting you. They actually showed footage of CM Punk and Jungle Boy Jack Perry and this altercation that they had right before AEW All In, the event started. Of course, freaking Jungle Boy Jack Perry was in a pre-show match with Hook. And of course, you guys heard, of course, we talked about it, Brian, the interview with Ariel Helwani and CM Punk. And of course, kind of like, pretty much breaking his silence about everything and pretty much just kind of spilling the beans about, and of course, take it or leave it of how Punk feels about what transpired personally with Hangman Adam Page and Jungle Boy and all these other people, the Young Bucks. But but what speaks volumes is how AEW is running this company professionally, right? So let me get into this unseen footage, right? Like, listen, Brian, I'm going to get to your thoughts, but just bear with me for a second, because I'm fucking livid. I'm livid and I'm freaking baffled. I try so hard, bro. I said this in a TikTok, right? I try so hard to be hopeful about this company, and bringing in talents like Will Ospreay, Mercedes, right? You have talents like Konosuke Takeshita and all of these other people that, okay, maybe this is now the time to where AEW starts to evolve and maybe starts to brand these wrestlers as the face of their company, right? You got Mercedes Moné, you got Will Ospreay, you got Okada, right, who's part of the Bucks shtick. The Bucks are doing their thing. Tony Storm's doing their thing. Swerve Strickland is probably about to win a world championship at some point. Yep, Samoa Joe, everybody, right? And your response after, not just for the CM Punk interview, but after what WWE just did, had the most successful WrestleMania weekends in its tenure, and your response to put on quality television for your company is to take jabs at a guy who's no longer even part of your fucking company anymore, and show an unseen clip from August of 2023 to, from what I'm hearing, Brian, it's to evolve a story with the Bucks and FTR. What the fuck are we doing here? Like, Brian, like, I'm so confused and I'm baffled. Tell me how this is gaining interest between the Bucks and FTR going after tag titles for AEW Dynasty. Is anybody talking about FTR right now? That's a rhetorical question. The answer is fucking no. You're talking about CM Punk in this freaking clip. That is your biggest headline, Brian. Your biggest headline out of this AEW Dynamite show is a guy that's not even involved in your fucking company anymore. Like, you know what AEW should have done, right? Because people are like, oh, well, CM Punk said this and he said this stuff. I'm like, guys, as a company, you don't say shit. You know what you do? You fucking ignore it, right? This is a lose-lose situation, right? You already have all this hype with WrestleMania. Punk said everything that he needed to say, and a lot of it is true, whether you freaking like it or not. And the worst possible thing that you could have done for your company and all of the talent in that freaking locker room, because I feel horrible, Brian. I feel fucking horrible for these talents who are trying to sell not just themselves, but for this pay-per-view that you have in just a couple of weeks. People like Swerve Strickland, who is trying to continue to get himself over, that's about to win a world fucking title. Samoa Joe, who is holding on to the fucking world title, right? Freaking people like Lance Archer, who is trying to get on the fucking show. But you, Tony Khan, and the Elite, you want to fill up your freaking show doing this shit. And that's your biggest headline. There's nobody talking about Dynasty. There's nobody talking about Swerve Strickland. There's nobody talking about Samoa Joe. Even freaking Will Ospreay freaking cut a promo on Triple H. All of this show is about WWE. It had nothing to do with your freaking pay-per-view in a couple of weeks. Fucking amateurs, dude. This company and this fucking product is full of amateurs. And I am at my wit's end because, Brian, like I said at the start, and I'm about to get your thoughts, and bear with me, I am tired, and I've tried so hard to really be hopeful about this company. And for weeks and months and years, Tony Khan and this company proves to me, to you, and to everybody in this wrestling community how much of an amateur Tony Khan and AEW freaking is by doing this freaking shit, right? Because again, there's no way you were actually going to show an unseen clip about freaking CM Punk and Jack Perry backstage, right? Like, you think this is a troll. Okay, this is just to maybe elevate the Bucks and their freaking shtick, right? No, guys, they actually showed a clip. Regardless if there's audio or not, or this or not, you don't fucking do that, man. Because you know when you put that clip out there, and now freaking AEW, because you put that clip out there, it's going all over social media, and now you want to copyright everybody like nobody's going to fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's Brian, just with all that being said, man, just your thoughts in regards to it, bro.
No, the first word that came to my mind when I saw all this was minor leagues, man.
Oh my God.
That's the difference between WWE and AEW is major leagues and minor leagues. So Punk had his thing, his interview, whatever, and that's Ariel Helwani is he's just he associates with both companies. This was not a WWE production or whatever, as far as I know. I mean, I'm sure he got approval for it or whatnot, but I don't understand what the point was to show. Well, first of all, I got questions about, like, if this really is a legal thing. And there's NDAs NDAs involved where they can't speak on it. How are you showing a video clip of it? Like, what? I mean, what's up with that? Like, if that's a real thing, which I do think that part of it is real, that there are NDAs involved here. But to show that video where it doesn't, I guess they were trying to put Punk in a bad light. But without hearing what was being said, it doesn't. I granted, I got to go back and watch it. I just saw it very quickly. But you see them there, obviously, like, exchanging words. You can't hear it, and then they get into a scuffle. And I can't remember exactly what Punk said on how it went down. Maybe that's what they were trying to do. Like, well, it didn't go down that way. I don't know.
That's the thing. Right. Like, Punk said everything that was shown in this footage. Like, he admitted that he went after Jack Perry. He freaking admitted that he went up to Jack Perry and said, hey, what's up with all this internet bullshit or whatever? And Jack Perry's like, oh, well, if you had a problem, do something about it. And you saw how it freaking escalated, right?
Right.
It's just like, I don't understand what was the end game here, right? Yeah. Because
and then they go ahead.
Yeah, no, my fault for cutting you off. It's like, so I'm amplified and I'm freaking livid because I
was confused as shit too, and even with FTR,
with FTR, right? And it's just like, I don't understand why you play, like, you say, oh, we're gonna show this unseen footage, but you're also saying, like, oh, it's to help us evolve a story with FTR and the Bucks. God, like, when you put this out, you know damn well what freaking people are going to talk about. They're going to talk about Punk. They're going to talk about Punk and what he said in the interview. Like, people are not fucking stupid here. Like, they're not going to talk about your freaking pay-per-view coming up, right? You talk about All In. It's kind of like fans can put two and two together. It's not fucking rocket scientists, right? It's just like, I don't understand. It's to put AEW in a better light, because to show how bad of a person CM Punk is and how it's like still like Punk is still winning in this situation because everything he said pretty much happened in this freaking footage.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Continue, Brian.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't know what they hope to accomplish in that, other than obviously, yes, then they did tie it into the FTR story, which if you're trying to use this as a fucking angle with FTR, like what the fuck? And I've said it many times. FTR is my favorite tag team in all of wrestling. And where the fuck have they been?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened with, I can't remember when it was, back towards the end of last year, last summer or whatever. I thought FTR was coming back to WWE. I really did. But they signed back with AEW. I don't know if it has something to do with the whole Punk situation, but you know, listening to Dak's podcast and where they were at that point a year ago as the best tag team in the world, or one of them, and then having that contract, or you know, where are we gonna go to further our careers and establish us as the best tag team? What they've done since they've signed back with AEW is just, where the fuck have they been? And I don't know if it's an animosity between them and the Bucks or this Punk situation, but the FTR is not on TV or, you know, in segments that would suggest to a viewer that they're the best tag team in the world. You know?
No.
I don't know. I don't know what they hope to accomplish. But even to the Will Ospreay thing. Look, I've mentioned it, and I don't think people should be ashamed of it or feel like they have to defend it. WWE and AEW have two very different travel schedules and TV tapings and live shows and whatever. And I guess whatever. Triple H made the comment that if a young wrestler would prefer that AEW schedule over WWE, that maybe they don't have the grind in them.
Right.
Maybe not. And maybe not. But also, there's nothing wrong with putting on a product, doing something that you love. It needs to get better. But if you want to do that and go out and put on wrestling and still have that time with family and not have to travel that much, there's nothing wrong with that. There shouldn't be any shade or shame in that.
No.
But there is a truth to that. If you're going to be on the road 300 days a year and grinding in the business and the travel and the whatever, you are going to pick up the business quicker, faster. You're going to evolve, or, you know, that's the hope. It doesn't work out for everybody, but what Triple H was saying, maybe it was a shot, maybe it wasn't, but it was also true. And that's what it was. So for Ospreay to come out there and then cut that promo, and look, I've said Ospreay's shown me enough already with his promo skills and what he can do in the ring. Yeah, he may be the best professional wrestler in the world right now, possibly. And if he wants to be in AEW, that's great. You know, go do your shit in AEW. But yeah, it's a lighter schedule. It's right now as it stands, you can be Ospreay, the big fish in a small pond over at AEW, or you can be Will Ospreay, big fish in a fucking mega global entity in WWE. That's the difference. You know, so yeah, sorry this is going long, but it's been a while, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't make sense, and it doesn't help FTR.
No.
You're selling Punk more than you are the match. What the fuck?
Exactly. Look, I'm gonna close it out with this because I do want to get into Monday Night Raw after Mania. I do want to talk a little bit of positivity here, you know. But look, man, this company just continues to shoot themselves in the foot, and they're just way in over their head, and they are just a bunch of fucking amateurs. That's just what they are, man. They continue to guys, I understand it's just be a business.
And you are the EVP, yes, you are in a role of leadership and a face of the company, and Nah, man, it's
just like
bad luck. Bad luck.
A businessman. Like there's no win situation here to go after a member or a wrestler from another company who just had one of the most successful pay-per-view WrestleMania weekends in its tenure, and you want to put this footage out that's going to do nothing but steal headlines from the rest of your fucking talent. It is idiotic.
And backs up Punk's story.
And it backs up everything that Punk has freaking said, man.
Yeah.
It's just, man, I like I said, I've tried. I'm going to continue to try, but this company is not making it easy for me and a lot of people to get behind this company. And it's like, what, to boost ratings, right? You're so desperate to try to get freaking clicks and to get people to watch because your ratings have gone down the shitter for the past freaking 5 years. Don't take my word for it. That's a freaking truth. Just go look at research yourself. So yeah, man, that's just it. I have to remind people like CM Punk, who freaking I was scared for my life for because of
scared for my life. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, man. It's just
get out of here.
it's a mess, man. But
yeah.
Enough of all that, man. We got Raw After Mania to talk about, so let's dive straight into that, man. So let's start right from the jump. Let's start right from the jump at the top of this show. So, of course, the Raw After Mania, of course, it's one of the hottest Monday Night Raws of the calendar year. Was this a Raw After Mania type feel? Well, let's start right from the jump, as it started off with Triple H. He gets a great ovation from Philadelphia saying, "Thank you, Hunter." And of course, he talks about, it's like, listen, I came out to say to thank to all of you, praising the crowd, thanking the fans. And then, of course, he referenced about, I said that we're entering a new era, and I want to introduce who is going to lead us into that new era. And he brings out Cody Rhodes with the championship around his shoulder, the new plates, the new American Nightmare logo plates and everything. He embraces Triple H in the middle of the ring. He also presents him with a video package, which was beautiful. Beautiful video package of Cody. And then, of course, Triple H lets Cody have the floor. He puts the title onto the middle of the ring, kisses the title, does that whole shtick. It's a thank you, Cody chant. You deserve it chant. People were chanting thank you, Roman. Of course, freaking Cody was talking about Roman, and absolutely thank you to Roman. I know a lot of people, freaking throw a lot of slander at him because of his schedule and the amount of times he's defended the title, man. But again, keep in mind, and Brian,
beat leukemia twice.
This is a guy that's legit, who has been busting his ass and who's beaten leukemia twice, man, and has done a 180 with his career, and he definitely deserves his flowers. And legit, one of maybe not the, but one of the best and most memorable title reigns.
Absolutely. In history. We will remember this for decades. Absolutely.
No doubt, for sure. So Cody Rhodes is out there, he cuts a promo and just, he's just freaking just pours his heart out pretty much, man. Of course, it's just finishing the story and everything. Of course, the video package and everything. And then he talks about, this was a great line. He had Samantha Irving say, "Listen, Samantha, I think I know what I'm about to ask you." And he freaking reintroduces Cody as the undisputed WWE champion, by the way. As there used to be undisputed Universal Championship, but now it's the undisputed WWE Championship. I thought that was interesting how they're making that little change there. But this was a really cool line. He says, "Listen," he says, "allow me to introduce myself." He said, "My name is Cody Rhodes." He talks about being, undesirable, undeniable, and now you're undisputed WWE champion. I thought that was a really, really cool line. He talks about, of course, the whole, finishing the story, crowd erupts and everything. And all of a sudden we hear, "If you smell," and it's The Rock. The Rock comes out with his freaking People's title. The crowd, some people were cheering at the time. Of course, then some people were booing. Right. And then he talks about, I think people were chanting Undertaker at The Rock, which was kind of funny. People were saying Rocky sucks. He's like, "Listen, listen, The Rock is a lot of things, but freaking you suck is not one of them." And he asks Cody if he were to give him the title to hold on to it. And Cody Rhodes is like, "What?" It's like his first initial reaction is like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, The Rock just wants to just hold it for a second. And Cody's like, All right, cool. I'll let you take it as long as I hold yours. And this was kind of like leading to a really bad college joke, pretty much.
Right.
But yeah, they exchange titles. The crowd is chanting, "This is awkward."
Yeah.
Right. But freaking the Rock puts the title on his shoulder. He gives him the Brahma Bull People's Championship title, and he's just like, man, this feels right. This feels good, you know. And obviously you can tell what this is leading to.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock, when he comes back, he's going after that championship. He's like, oh man, this feels good, man. You know, when I come back, obviously speaking hypothetically, but when I come back, this is gonna feel good once it's on my shoulder officially, right? So of course, you know, the Rock continues to talk and everything. Of course, he goes on to say, listen, you know, the Rock is about to head out before he walks into the sunset and everything. You know, he talks about, you know, going back to, you know, the whole TKO spiel and say the Rock is your boss and blah, blah, blah. And then Cody Rhodes came back really well. I was like, listen, you may be my boss, but I am your champion. I thought that was a really good little dig and little clap back at the Rock. And then the Rock, before he leaves, he hands Cody Rhodes something. He puts it in his hand, and he's like, "You don't even need to look to know what it is." And he goes on to say, "You know, never break my heart again." And then he goes through his spiel, but very monotone, saying, you know, doing his spiel. If you smell what the Rock is cooking, very intense stare off, and then the Rock walks off. As well over a half hour of this segment, as the Rock walks off, Cody is kind of in distraught and very like kind of confused in a way. And I'm sure this has something to do with when the Rock was telling the story about how Cody Rhodes changed his mind and how he decided to have or to make his decision to go after
that main event away from Rock.
Took that main away from the Rock. He said, "Don't you ever break my heart again." So I'm sure whatever he gave to Cody Rhodes has something to do with that. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna suck without the frickin' Rock being here, as he's just been tremendous. And like we both said, Brian, like this dude has just been legit alongside Drew, as I want to give Drew his flowers as well, is that just carrying the builds up into this WrestleMania. And who knows, does he come back for SummerSlam? Does he come back for the Royal Rumble? Regardless of when the Rock comes back, it could be at SummerSlam, whenever that time is. But when he does come back, he's going after Cody Rhodes in that championship. He's like, when the Rock comes back, he even said, he's like, when the Rock comes back, he's like, I'll be looking for you, Cody. And Cody says, like, I'm looking forward to it. So Cody Rhodes is open up to it. So, but yeah, very, very good opening segment, man. This was really good. This was intense. Obviously, of course, the whole little awkward freaking exchanging of the titles, I can understand to a degree.
Yeah.
But definitely plants really good seeds of possibly what's to come in the near future. But Brian, your thoughts, man, on this opening segment between Cody Rhodes and The Rock?
I thought it was a great segment too. The video package, you know, Cody celebrating again. And yeah, when The Rock came out there, I think what he might have finished it off with saying something to the effect like of whether you have that title or not. Like I'm not necessarily coming back for the title. I'm coming back for you.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that. And yeah, whatever he put in his hand, that was my first thought. Like, because the breaking of the heart, that line at first was a little weird. I was like, what? And that's the only thing I can think of is that, you know, it meant a lot to The Rock and Roman and that family to have that main event. And that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But it could be something else, man. You never know.
As well as he reminds Cody Rhodes, like, listen, you may have finished the story. Congratulations. You deserve your flowers, you know, and again, well earned and well deserved. But keep in mind, WrestleMania Night 1, The Rock pins you in the center of this ring. 1, 2, 3. So he's reminding Cody of that. And again, yeah, like you said, Brian, with The Rock said, if you have that championship or whatever, you don't have the championship, The Rock is going to come for you. So definitely some good seeds planted of what's to come. But yeah, continue.
That's pretty much it, man. I mean, yeah, I loved it. Looking forward to whenever they come back. I mean, I would hope sooner than later. I mean, the only 2 times I could, because I feel it's going to be at a pay-per-view, so I'm thinking of either SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Hopefully SummerSlam, because that's sooner. But to that end, The Rock, Roman, man, honestly, thank God for The Rock coming back, and thank Roman for the last 4 years, man. You've entertained, and you've brought not only WWE but wrestling back into a prosperous time,
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to both of them.
Absolutely,
for and sure. Definitely good. It's definitely gonna, we're gonna miss them, when they're gone. It's one of those things like, yeah, people are gonna bitch about Roman, like, oh, he's never on there, well, now when he's really gone and you're not gonna see him for months and months,
right, man,
you're gonna miss him.
Yeah, for sure. Same with The Rock, man. People hate when The Rock comes back, but then when he leaves, man, it's like, shoot, it's not the same when The Rock's not here, man. Trying to hype up Mania and everything. Yep. So we try to tell people, man. So, but yeah, man, very tremendous. A really good opening segment to start the show, and definitely plants really good seeds for what's to come in the future for SummerSlam and Royal Rumble for sure. So, and yeah, whatever he placed in Cody Rhodes' hands, I guess maybe, who knows? That's something we may never know, or maybe that's something that Cody Rhodes will tell further on.
I think we will. We'll eventually find out. I'm guessing just off the top, it's got to be some sort of like Samoan tribal. Like I'm thinking it's like a ceremonial piece.
Maybe, like something to do with his family and the bloodline, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, to some degree, probably that could be the case for sure. But regardless of all of that, man, this achieved what it needed to achieve.
Yep.
The Rock just doing what he does best, leaving you in suspense and freaking wanting more. So this was really, really good, and a really good start to Monday Night Raw. For our second topic, this is gonna be a mesh of a lot of things, because a lot of other stuff happened in this show, and then we'll get into our final topic later on. Ilya Dragunov and Roxanne Perez, Roxy, as you know her for ROH, made their main roster debut. Ilya Dragunov was in a match with Shinsuke Nakamura. Of course, he wins that match. Of course, WWE confirmed that. Of course, we got this draft coming up later on this month. And Dragunov will be a part of the WWE draft. Now, he still has that NXT championship, so it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds with the title. Does he relinquish it? Does he freaking just lose it in the snap of a finger on a random NXT show? Who freaking knows? But I will say, man, and listen, I try to tune in to the NXT product when I can in regards to watching the show itself and doing research and doing other stuff when it comes to, what people are doing. But Dragunov, man, I've said it for weeks and months, man, about this dude. This dude is really, really good. Don't let his size and stature fool you, man. This dude is very, very captivating of what he can tell it, with in-ring psychology and storytelling, not just his maneuvers, man. This dude and selling. This dude is top notch, man. This dude is really good. And it's a long time coming, I guess you can say, for Dragunov, man, as he's going to be, main roster bound full time at some point, whenever the time is for him to get rid of that NXT championship. And of course, Roxanne Perez, who's your current NXT women's champion, who took on Indy Hartwell. So definitely this was, again, I guess it's more of like the whole new era thing, like, hey, this is a new era, get to, recognize these faces more and more for weeks and months and years to come, right? So before I move on, man, Brian, your thoughts about Dragunov and Roxanne Perez and their debuts?
I'll speak pretty much just about Dragunov here. I mean, great for Roxanne too, both of them. But we've spoken about for months, like, if they had pulled the trigger sooner with Dragunov, like, he would have been the perfect opponent to take the title from Gunther.
Yeah.
Finally, glad he's up here, and I hope we still get that feud, whether it's
I'm sure
for a title or not. Like, we need to see that for sure.
I was gonna say, I don't even need a title involved. No, just give me Gunther and just give me Ilya Dragunov. Not just how just freaking physical and hard hitting that freaking match is going to be, but the history that they have in NXT UK. So it's sitting in their lap, and I'm sure they're going to revisit that whenever that time comes with the Ilya Dragunov and Gunther. Those roads will definitely cross paths for sure. But yeah, I mean, I've said it for it's been months now about Dragunov, that he's just that believable type of character to, and as well as storytelling wise of Gunther to take that IC title, but they gave it to Sami Zayn, had no problem with that. That match was damn solid. One of the best matches of the weekend, of course, outside of that whole freaking botch that we talked about, the brainbuster botch and everything. But yeah, man, it was really good to see Dragunov.
It was. I'm happy he's there. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's just, now that, I mean, listen, if this is a new era, you would think that Dragunov is going to slowly but surely, I mean, they're going to book him to be a big deal. I mean, that's what we hope, right? But if this is a new era, he's going to be a top star in this industry for the next couple of months, weeks, and years. So we'll see in regards to it. But and then you have the Judgment Day. You had the Judgment Day pretty much celebrating all of their success, right? You have Rhea Ripley defending her women's world champion. And now, of course, you have your new world champion, Damian Priest. They're all celebrating in the ring. All of a sudden, freaking R-Truth freaking pops through and he raises his freaking his tag title. By the way, yes, freaking R-Truth and The Miz, Awesome Truth. They're now your new Raw tag team champions. They did split those titles up. Freaking Grayson Waller and Austin Theory won the other set of titles. And freaking listen, I brought the tag titles back to the Judgment Day. Right? And then freaking The Miz comes out. He makes his way to the ring. And he talks about, Miz is like, he doesn't want to be in Judgment Day, right? He's like, listen, I'm back in the Judgment Day. Like, I'm the tag champion. I'm the other half of the tag title holders, and I don't want to be in Judgment Day, though. What are we doing here? And this pretty much just, this whole like comedy stuff kind of just led to a 6-man tag. This was the Judgment Day. This was Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio against R-Truth, The Miz, and the guy you can't see, referencing to R-Truth. And yes, it's John Cena. John Cena comes out later on in this match, of course, does his power moves. They did like a freaking triple 5-knuckle shuffle, triple FU or triple attitude adjustment, and they pick up the W. So thought it was like, freaking, of course, R-Truth. He's already doing a bunch of like Cena freaking spiel here with the whole shoulder tackles. We see R-Truth do all that all the time in regards to it. It definitely at least added some like good entertainment with Cena being there. I think if this was just a traditional tag, I can kind of like take it or leave it with the Judgment Day as well as R-Truth and The Miz and everything. And yeah, man. So Brian, your thoughts in regards to Cena returning in this segment with the Judgment Day and R-Truth and Miz?
Again, I'm mixed with this one, man, because R-Truth is funny as shit. I mean, that, when he just popped up there with the tag title, I mean, yeah, that was funny, man. But
yeah.
All in all, like, it goes back to what I was saying with Damian as the champion. Like, here you are, he just cashed in and now he's the world champion, and you're still doing like the comedy shtick with R-Truth. Like, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So, and we'll see how that evolves. I mean, I like, at least with Damian, well, I don't know how you do it without, because the Judgment Day is a faction. Like, R-Truth and the Judgment Day need to be done with each other, especially with Damian involved as the world champion. Like, that can't be the shtick he's doing as world champion.
Because that's the thing. Because like you're going to continue this whole like freaking. Because we talked about too, right? About most likely R-Truth and The Miz are not going to hold on to these titles for very long. So are you just going to give them back to the Judgment Day? And now once again, Judgment Day is holding all the gold for the next couple of weeks. So we're just again, it's not a new era for the Judgment Day. Maybe a new era for other people, but not for the Judgment Day, because they keep doing the same thing with people like R-Truth and The Miz. Because you can as much as I like R-Truth, and he is fun, and I do get a freaking laugh out of his comedy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But you can only do so much with that. You can only do the comedy stuff for so long, especially now with Damian Priest. Again, he's a world champion. And if you're going to portray him to be a champion, you can't just make him just another member of this freaking Judgment Day faction doing the same shit. So who the hell knows, man? Because this can, like I said, it could fall flat on their face very quickly, especially of what's involved with the Judgment Day and Damian Priest and such. But definitely John Cena, at least for this one night brought that, that entertainment aspect. Oh, it's our truth. Number one fan, right? So I didn't mind that at all, man. Freaking take it or leave it, I guess. But I didn't mind it at all in regards to it. But moving on into the show. And speaking of Judgment Day, I'll finish it off with this. You did have Liv Morgan attack Rhea Ripley backstage. So now they're going to start that whole feud. Probably at the next pay-per-view, it's probably going to be Liv versus Rhea Ripley for that world title.
Probably, yeah.
For the most part. Of course, we thought that Liv was going to be meshed into this whole matchup with Becky Lynch. That didn't happen. And now freaking Liv Morgan, she chucks this fucking steel chair, dude. It was pretty. It came out of nowhere. It was off camera of how she threw the chair.
Yeah.
And everything it was like a quick, maybe 30 to 60
30-second beat down.
Yeah. So again, we've talked about it, man. There's history with Liv and Rhea Ripley. It's going to be interesting though, because Brian, like you said about Rhea, you would think that at some point, the more people chant "mommy" in these in these Monday Night Raw shows, and the more they cheer her, you'd think at some point in time that you'd want to flip that switch and turn her babyface. But maybe they're going to continue to portray her as the heel and Liv as the babyface in this moment. So we'll see in regards to it. But before we get into this final portion of our second topic, Brian, your thoughts about Liv and Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, I think that'll be a good feud. As we've mentioned on here before, is Liv the most believable person to be the one to beat Rhea? No. So I think this could be a really, really good feud, but ultimately Liv's going to lose. But it's still, we've been waiting on it. There's been a history here. So, yeah, I think it could definitely be good. And just with the Judgment Day as a whole, now that you have both, the two leaders being the two world champions, that's why I say I feel like they've kind of booked themselves into a conundrum where, it could be really good if you shake the Judgment Day up a little bit and have Priest and Rhea as your leaders of it, as the world champions. But that's going to have to be a long-term thing, which I don't think they're doing with it, with Damian being the champion. So it's one of those things where you still got the mommy, turning face, and Damian's probably not holding on to this very long. They lost the tag team titles, so it's something's going to happen here, in the next coming months. But I don't know, man. I just wish the timing could have worked out right, where Mommy and Priest are holding the titles, they're the leaders, and Judgment Day is a dominant ass faction. Yeah. But I don't think that's happening.
No. We'll see, man, in regards to that. But also, Jade Cargill, she was pretty much in a squash match with Chelsea Green. Pretty much just did her pump boot to the face to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green was funny. She's like, listen, I did not approve this. Cut it off. Cut the match off. So for her character-wise, she made it work in regards to it. And I could see where people are coming from to where you could have just done another a regular jobber in Philadelphia, but for Chelsea Green's sake, man, it's kind of like what I say about Maxine Dupree. The character is not meant to be taken as seriously, a serious contender worthy champion type of wrestler. But yeah, she did her part in regards to that whole spiel before she got her ass whooped by Jade Cargill. And listen, I know people are saying in regards to Jade, about she's not ready and everything in regards to in-ring work. Listen, a freaking kick to the face and a glam slam is all that she just, as of right now, she just needs to do, man. Yes, eventually she needs to evolve and needs to evolve her in-ring work moving forward. But right now, man, you keep playing to her strengths and you hide her weaknesses, man. And I got no issue with Jade and how you're trying to portray her moving forward. Obviously you need to involve her in something, going into this calendar year. But if this is how you want to portray Jade Cargill in these types of matchups, absolutely no problem with it, man. As long as just there's a plan moving forward in regards to it.
Yeah, let me speak on that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
The internet trolls, man. She's going to be booked as a dominant female. A lot of squash matches probably early on, and she's she's in and around with other vets. And it's not like, look, they're not bringing her in. She's not, going right after Rhea. Like they're, so is she ready? I can guarantee you this. She's more ready now than she was when she left AEW, as far as in-ring work or whatever. I guarantee you she's far more ready.
Dude, that fucking entrance, bro. Are you kidding me?
Right?
With their entrance, man. Like, dude, that's larger than life status, man. That
Absolutely.
type of fucking entrance.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see again. Time will tell, and how she continues to evolve. Because in this day in wrestling, you have to, right? But right now, I think in regards to having these types of matchups, Brian, like you said, is totally okay. As long, again, as there's a long-term plan in regards to where she's headed. But our final topic final asset of this final topic here is the IC title. So your new IC champion, Sami Zayn, he's out there, of course, celebrating with the title. You had members of Imperium come out there pretty much to confront Sami Zayn. Frickin' Chad Gable comes out to even up the numbers. And this set up pretty much a tag match. And of course, Chad Gable and Sami Zayn win this match. And now, as we know, next week, there will be an IC title match between Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn. And I believe it's in Montreal. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. So backstage, Sami Zayn and Chad Gable were backstage, and freaking Sami Zayn like, all right, cool. So we're good, right? You got me prepared for this championship match. I won the title. You helped me out. We're good, right? And Chad Gable's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And Sami's like, I'm just kidding. I know what I said in regards to like freaking, I know what you mean. Like, I'm going to give you this title match now. Like, don't worry. I'm just kidding. So he freaking gives him the championship opportunity for next week. They shake hands, and we're going to get this freaking title match next week with Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. Now, next week is going to be in Montreal, because I know as of lately, freaking Chad Gable fans have been more behind Chad Gable as of late than they have been with Sami Zayn, because, at Brian, we've talked about it before, like more people just prefer Chad Gable in this situation with the IC title. And I think they want to do this in Montreal. That way, Sami Zayn looks more like the face in this match, especially if they are going to turn Chad Gable heel, which that still could be the case scenario in all of this. They don't want to like paint the scenario, whether if this was on any other stage or any other city, Chad Gable would be the one getting cheered. But the fact this is in Montreal, where in Sami Zayn's hometown, he's going to be portrayed more as the face. So I'm sure a lot of that had to deal with that in regards to the match itself. But Brian, your thoughts, man? Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, this matchup coming up in this segment that they had on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I think it was pretty obvious that if it wasn't going to be the first feud out of the gate for Sami, it was going to be close to it. And I think this can be a good feud. There's two. If you're going to, slow burn the heel turn, or just do it in one swoop. And I think this would be a perfect spot, given the fact that it is in Montreal, and the reaction that you would get if he did some like heel shit to, I still think, Sami's winning the match, but having Gable turn heel there because of the hometown crowd for Sami, that reaction is going to be bigger than you would probably get anywhere else. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to get this match, and either he turns heel here or he just loses, and it's one of those slow burns where, like, I'm frustrated. I can't be, I lost again, and now I'm going to attack you backstage or some shit,
Yeah.
But overall, I'm looking forward to the feud. I think this can be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. So yeah, we'll see in regards to just how all this unfolds with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Does Chad Gable turn on him? Does he go heel? Because he is like Rhea Ripley in a way. He is starting to distance himself from Alpha Academy. So who freaking knows in regards to that? But let's get into this final topic. The final shebang of this Raw after WrestleMania here, and that involves Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre comes out. He's addressing his WrestleMania victory as well as his WrestleMania defeat. As he's like, listen, 5 minutes and 46 seconds. That's how long his moment lasts. And he's like, oh, you think that's funny? He's like, it's 5 minutes longer than most of you guys in bed, so shut it. Fucking love it, dude. Drew McIntyre was good. Listen, I mean, even though we've gotten used to like joking Drew McIntyre, but this dude was serious. Like, this dude was pissed. He was amplified, and this was a really damn good promo from Drew McIntyre. He's like, listen, I know I don't like Seth Rollins, but he respects just who he is and the battle that they had. So he sends his condolences to freaking Seth Rollins, for talking about, and then he talks about how the bondage Undertaker, known as Damian Priest, screwed it all up for him. And he says that it's funny. Ready for this, Brian? You said this earlier about the Money in the Bank briefcase is a joke, and it cost him the world title twice. He's like, it cheapens everything that Rollins did as well as I did. But even though Priest had the briefcase, he contracted and he cashed in on me, the one that caused all of this is that prick CM Punk. And he says, listen, man, he's like, listen, I know you're going to go in and hide and you're going to freaking, you're going to, still heal up all your wounds and your tricep. If you think me tearing your tricep was bad, dude, you got another freaking thing coming. And that's when main event Jey Uso's music hits as we go into a number one contenders match. This was a fatal four-way match between Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Big Bronson Reed versus Ricochet. That's kind of odd. Ricochet was off of WrestleMania, and here he is getting a world title opportunity. Again, I'm not going to go there. Just again, maybe nitpicking, just throwing that out there. But yeah, there was two cool spots. Freaking Ricochet did a 450 on the outside onto Bronson Reed through the announce table. So that was a nice, cool little spot there. Drew McIntyre is about to put Jey Uso away. It's pretty much between him and Jey Uso at this point. McIntyre goes for the Claymore, and CM Punk comes from out of the ring or underneath the ring, and he's grabbing onto freaking Drew McIntyre's foot, which is causing a distraction. Freaking Jey Uso capitalizes. I believe he hit a super kick, alongside of an Uso splash, and Jey Uso wins this match as CM Punk once again costs Drew McIntyre and this World Heavyweight Championship, as Jey Uso is the new number one contender to Damian Priest's World Heavyweight Championship. And of course, this continues the whole spiel between Drew McIntyre and Punk. Freaking Punk is on the commentary table, freaking dancing along to Jey Uso as Jey Uso celebrating in the ring. And that is Raw after WrestleMania with Jey Uso and CM Punk standing tall. Brian, before I go, man, your thoughts, man, on Drew McIntyre, Punk, and this Fatal 4-Way match.
I mean, I kind of spoke about it. Sorry, I blew the load at the beginning there. I mean, it was a good promo by Drew. I liked it. It's just now we're here. I just think it would be better served if McIntyre was the champion. I don't think, while this, yes, is being used to further the story between him and Punk.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing that anyway. Like, the story was being told anyway. And I think you can tell it just as well. I didn't think you needed to add this loss to McIntyre to further anything with him and
fair.
Punk.
That's fair. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so Jay's number one contender, and like I said, man, I mean, I can't see him losing, at least, of course, cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, Drew has beef with Jay. Does Drew cost Jay the match or whatever? And that's just what I hope we don't get into, is that just everybody's costing everybody. It's all DQ finishes, and
that could get really
shit
ugly,
like that, right?
Really, really quickly, for sure. Yeah, because it's interesting, right? Because we spoke a little bit about it earlier on this show, is that with Jey Uso, man, because if Jey Uso does win this championship, then again, how does that really make Damian Priest look? I mean, yeah, cool. Right. He's going to maybe, we hope, to start this dissension of the Judgment Day, as it should be happening, to evolve Damian Priest and these other people like Rhea Ripley and such. But But for Damian Priest, for his first title defense, for him to just lose, I don't know how well that does for Damian Priest either, because you already freaking you freaking he had him cash in, you did the deed, and now you're in this pickle to where
that's
things
what
can get
I
ugly.
see, like 3 outcomes, and none of them are good. Like you either have Damian winning cleanly over Jay, which what the fuck,
right?
Or you have Jay beating Priest, which okay, so what you had him hold the title for a month,
right?
Or there's interference in a DQ finish, which is the same thing you've been doing with Jay for months and months and months.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Especially if it's going to come from his brother Jimmy. It's just like, so what was the point of the big cultivating victory at WrestleMania just for him to continue to do?
And even like I said,
unless they're going to add some type of stipulation now with Jimmy and Jay, because I don't know. Because there's a lot of avenues, man, to where this could get ugly and just baffling very, very quickly. In regard, but I hear you when it comes to Drew McIntyre, man. I mean, in the moment when I was also baffled of why Damian Priest has this world championship, and again, we texted about it in the moment when it happened, but I do like the fact, because if you're going to do the same thing with Jay, like, oh, I'm costing you this opportunity, and here's Punk, I'm costing you this opportunity. It's like, okay, now we're just doing the same thing with everybody. And now it's just getting kind of redundant. So this could definitely go off the rails. Well, we'll definitely see, man. But Brian, your final thoughts in regards to all of it.
All in all, like I said, coming off of Mania and the Raw, I'm ecstatic about the place that WWE is in with its leadership, creative, the stars that they do have in place, the stars that they have up and coming.
Yeah.
So like all in all, I think it was a fantastic 3-4 days there that they had, and the issues that I have here is just I mean, it's mostly small stuff on just how you're finishing or how you're telling a couple of these stories, but all in all, man, it's been a really good Mania and Raw.
Absolutely, no, for sure. I mean, as of right now, WWE is on a lot of good momentum right now. It's WrestleMania. That's what we love about WrestleMania, right? And, all of, at least when everything goes well, right? When it comes to the event and how successful it was. Again, even this Monday Night Raw, this Raw after WrestleMania, this was a darn good, nothing over the top, but this was a good, consistent flowing show to where you had NXT stars come onto the show. It makes you feel like, oh, it's the Raw after Mania. Anything could happen, right? You had the attack backstage with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, which was cool for about 30 to 60 seconds. And even the exchanges with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, and seeing where that thing goes, as well as suspense in the future for people like The Rock and Cody Rhodes to a degree. But looks, man, I said this in the second upload, is that moving forward, right, all this hype about WrestleMania is going to go away pretty quickly, as we're now nearing the end of WrestleMania. We're at the end of WrestleMania weekend. We're still at WrestleMania, the week
after
of
shows.
The after shows, right? Exactly. But now it's time for WWE to continue that momentum when you no longer have that WrestleMania type of hype behind you. And there's a lot of other wrestlers, man. People like, even though to a degree, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but people like Cody Rhodes now being the world champion and now being the face of the company with Roman Reigns no longer here, right? Mm-hmm. Damian Priest to a degree, regardless of how long he holds this championship. There's now a lot of people now with Seth Rollins on the sidelines, with Roman Reigns on the sidelines, The Rock now taking his ball, going back to Hollywood and the TKO board. There's a lot of people now. Punk is still not healthy, right? We're still waiting for Punk to get healthy. There's now a lot of people, man, that need to step up moving forward. A lot of people, right? And listen, we'll give all these people a chance, right? But but like you said, Brian, when it comes to this whole Judgment Day stuff and all this other stuff that we mentioned, things can definitely go off the rails very quickly when it comes to the quality of the story that you're telling and the quality of television as a whole. But, moving forward, man, a lot of these people got to step up. Will they? Time will only tell. But this was a very successful weekend, a very successful Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And let's see if SmackDown after Mania follows suit, as we will talk all about that this weekend on Saturday. But thank you guys so much. There's been a lot of stuff with WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2, this Monday Night Raw after Mania, and shit, the whole freaking shit going on with AEW and this freaking unseen footage, man. A lot of shit's been going on, a lot of content still to be made here. But this has been a crazy, wild ride with WrestleMania, but it's been so much fun, man, to just talk about and just seeing where things go, whether it's baffling, whether it's good, whether it's bad, or whether it's ugly, right? But definitely a very successful WrestleMania, and definitely just, a new era now that's being bestowed upon, and we'll see where this new era takes us in regards to now with TKO. Like you said, Brian, the Netflix deal. There is a lot of stuff to be excited about, but now it's time to execute. WrestleMania is in the rearview mirror. Now people have to step up. Triple H has to step up. A lot of people have to step up to the plate, but we'll see where things go. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another edition of the Ruthless Talk podcast. I want to thank all of you guys. We just hit 100 subscribers today on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for hitting that subscribe button, for joining our wrestling community, and just tuning in to all of these freaking these episodes. And whether you watch them from our social media, our TikTok, or Instagram and stuff, just thank you guys, man. This has been a crazy, again, WrestleMania weekend. A lot of full of just juicy stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. But thank you guys so much, man, for hitting that subscribe button. Again, when you hit that subscribe button, you're part of our community, our wrestling community. And just thank you guys for hearing our voice and enjoying our content. And just, that's all I can really say, man, is thank you guys a lot, man. 100 subscribers. We just had this freaking YouTube channel for about a couple months now. And already at that freaking 100 mark, man. So it feels good. It feels really, really good to see our platform grow. And it really is great to see. But thank you guys again so much. Again, the banner's down below. You see it. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That is Ruthless_Talk. We have one more show before the end of our season. Season number 4 will be coming to an end this weekend, as we'll be doing our final show for season 4 when we talk about SmackDown after WrestleMania. That will be this Saturday, so stay tuned for that. Brian, your final thoughts, bro. Take it away.
Yeah, just thank everybody getting us to 100 subscribers, and anybody, Spotify, wherever you listen to us, watch us. Thank you to everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And as always, stay tuned for more content to come. That is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Bryan Thomas.
And until next time, there will be a next time. Your boys are signing off saying salutes.
Peace out.
And take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Toodles!